Hello and welcome back to the first edition of Into Vietnam in the Week. Let's take a look at top stories of the day. Vietnam's third quarter GDP growth rises on foreign investment. Industrial production rises 6.7%. And total outstanding loan expands by 6.73% as of September the 26th. First of all, let's start today's bulletin with outstanding macroeconomic events that we've updated.
Vietnam's economic growth accelerated in the third quarter as rising foreign investment boosted manufacturing and exports, helping counter lower lending by banks. According to data released by the General Statistics Office in Hanoi recently, gross domestic product rose 6.19% in the third quarter from a year earlier, quickening from a revised 5.42% gain reported in the previous 3 months. In the 9 months through September, the economy grew 5.62% compared with the median estimate of 5.4% in the Bloomberg survey. Vietnamese government has increased efforts to clean up bad debts at banks and spur lending to businesses, while the central bank has cut interest rates and devalued the dong this year. Vietnam's Index of Industrial Production or IIP experienced a year-on-year increase of 6.7% from January to September 2014, the highest growth rate since the beginning of this year. The General Statistics Office reported that during the 9-month period, the processing and manufacturing sector, which accounted for 70% of total industrial output, achieved an encouraging 8.3% growth. Industrial products recording the highest growth included handsets with 72.3%, electronics, computers and optical equipment with 35.9%, leather products and footwear with 31.3%. Products with lower growth rate include crude oil and steels 3.2% each, chemicals 3%, and pharmaceuticals 0.9%. Products with declining rates include sugar, which fell by 25.6%, and powdered milk by 23.3%.
Assessing at the biannual Autumn Economic Forum 2014 on September the 27th, the State Bank of Vietnam Deputy Governor Nguyễn Thị Hồng said total outstanding loans expanded by 6.73% by September the 23rd. She also revealed non-performing loan ratio was recorded at 4.11% by the end of July versus 4.17% at the end of June. The rise is partly attributed to an increase in middle and long-term loans. The Deputy Governor also said, so far this year, the VMC has purchased 74 trillion dong of sour debts and dealt with part of it by restructuring, reducing lending interest rate, and selling the debts. According to the State Bank of Vietnam, interest rates are now at reasonable levels and help to create market stability. Year to date, the interest rates have fallen strongly to around at the 2011's level. This trend rate and interbank lending rate are also within the threshold level. Looking back at the government exchange rate management, the rate has been virtually stable, except for a fluctuation of 1% in July, which complied with the central bank roadmap. Will there be any major changes in the exchange rate in the rest 3 months of the year? Let's find out in the following report. Stable exchange rate since the beginning of 2014 has facilitated foreign exchange operations under the State Bank of Vietnam's encouragement. Businesses think that there will be no wave of foreign exchanges in the final months of the year, or if any, it will not exceed 1%. There hasn't been much tension in their foreign currency demand year to date.
Năm nay thì dự kiến ngân hàng nhà nước là chắc là sẽ có 1% thay đổi nữa, từ đầu năm đến 1% rồi. Từ giờ đến cuối năm chắc sẽ 1% nữa. Tuy nhiên rằng cái tỷ giá biến động ấy, thì nó cũng rất là thất thường. Năm nay thì nó có xu hướng ổn định, nhưng nếu như nó biến động như năm 2010 lên một lúc 10% thì cái đấy là rất là nguy hiểm. Đó là 4P cũng không tập trung vào cái việc vay ngoại tệ quá nhiều.
Theo tôi thì tỷ giá nó sẽ là ổn định, khá là ổn định từ giờ đến cuối năm.
Steady exchange rate obviously benefits banks and business in many ways. During 2013 and the first 9 months of 2014, Vietnamese businesses haven't encountered any surge in the forex rate. However, a long curve of forex rate is not a good measure to support firms, as it's just an administrative solution.
Nếu nói đơn thuần về mặt xuất khẩu thì nếu chúng ta cái tỷ giá, cái giá trị đồng tiền Việt Nam nó càng thấp thì cái khả năng kích thích xuất khẩu nó càng cao. Thế cho nên là mà chúng ta ổn định lâu quá thì nó cũng làm cho cái kích thích xuất khẩu nó bị hạn chế. Thế nhưng mà cũng phải nói một cách cụ thể về tình hình chúng ta, khi chúng ta mà điều chỉnh cái tỷ giá thì nó phụ thuộc không phải chỉ có xuất khẩu, nó phụ thuộc vào cái nhập khẩu, nó phụ thuộc vào cái dư nợ nước ngoài và ngoại tệ của chúng ta. Ba cái mà nó phải đảm bảo hài hòa. Nếu mà nó cái lệch ấy thì nó được cái xuất khẩu, nó thiệt cái trả nợ, được cái xuất khẩu thì nó không bị ảnh hưởng cái nhập khẩu. Thế nên là cái mà chúng ta giữ vừa qua cho nó ổn định thì nó cũng có những cái mặt lợi nhưng có mặt hại.
Exchange rate sooner or later will come back to the state in which is adjusted in accordance with the market demand. In the current conditions, the government should maintain a prudent instead of a sudden adjustment in the rate.
Tôi nghĩ rằng là thứ nhất thì không phải điều chỉnh tỷ giá mà vẫn cứ theo cái lộ trình gọi là chườn bò, tức là có thể có chút điều chỉnh nhưng mà theo tính chất chườn bò một chút ít, chứ không phải là điều chỉnh một cái cú lớn ở chỗ này, bởi vì chưa đến mức phải như vậy.
Nâng cái tỷ giá như thế nào phải cân đối, và cái khuyến khích xuất khẩu đến mức nào chúng ta cũng phải có cái tính toán cho nó hợp lý và khai thác được những yếu tố thuận lợi và hạn chế những cái yếu tố nó có thể làm chúng ta thiệt hại hoặc rủi ro.
It's 3 months toward the end of 2014, and there's hardly any surge in Vietnam's exchange rate. Businesses and banks have maintained stable sentiments in their operations. However, in the upcoming time, the market forces may expect more obvious moves, at least in exchange rate adjustment, as the slightest change reflects the market supply and demand regulation. The State Bank of Vietnam expected remittances by overseas Vietnamese people through banks and other official channels to Ho Chi Minh City could reach $5 billion this year, an increase of $1 billion from last year. The estimation is based on the remittances received so far, which as of early September had topped $2.7 billion, a year-on-year increase of 6.2%. They were sent from America, Europe, and Asian countries such as South Korea, China, Japan, and ASEAN member nations. This year, remittances from Asia have accounted for 5.2% of the total figure, 3 percentage points higher than a year ago. It is reported that 74.2% of the remittances has been channeled into manufacturing, 21.8% into housing, with the remaining 4% going towards supporting remitters' families in Vietnam. The Australia and New Zealand Banking Group, or ANZ, on Monday said it has agreed to sell its 17.5% stake in Vietnam Saigon Security Incorporation, or SSI, as the lender focuses on improving returns in Asia. It did not disclose terms of the sale to SSI chairman and a group of Vietnamese investors, but said the transaction was non-material. The ANZ, which expects to see return on equity of 16% by 2016 from 15.5% now, has said it may exit smaller stakes as it looks to own 100% of the business to improve investor returns. As reported by the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, Vietnam has earned $22.7 billion in profits from the export of farming, forestry, and seafood products in the first 9 months of 2014, rising 11.4% year-on-year. Farming products brought in $12.7 billion, up 9.8%, Forestry products $4.41 billion, up 13.2%, and seafood products $5.65 billion, rising 21.6%. Forestry and seafood sector achieved a $6 billion trade surplus for the first 3 quarters of the year, even as the sector spent $16.11 billion on imports, an increase of 18% on year. Notably, in the first 9 months, coffee export experienced a 31.9% year-on-year surge in volume and 27.9% year-on-year surge in value. Pepper export up 24.5% and 41.9% respectively, while cashew export up 19.6% and 21.8% on year respectively. The charges levied on the airlines by the airport to cover the cost of charged items as takeoff, landing and parking of aircraft are set to rise on October the 1st, leading many industry analysts to predict air flight ticket prices are in the offing. Airport fees in Group A are rising from 60,000 to 70,000 dong per passengers. Fees in Group B export fee are climbing from 50 to 60,000 dong per passenger. The fees paid by the airlines for other services, such as screening passengers and luggage for security, are also increasing by 10,000 dong per domestic passengers and $1.5 per international one, a 10% rise compared to the current charges. And before we go, let's check out today's gold prices, forex and stock market. Well, that's all for this edition of Into Vietnam. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you soon and goodbye for now.